And welcome back into Crosstalk. On this morning's edition of the program, we're going to talk triathlon. We're joined by Marc Wilson. He's the HITS Triathlon Series race director. The HITS Triathlon Series is coming to Stirling, Colorado for an event on July 28th and 29th. Marc, thank you for being a part of the program. This is something we weren't expecting to talk to you about, but with the High Park Fire, you guys have been forced to move your event, correct?
That is correct, Ben, and thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we had originally planned to have our event in Fort Collins, Colorado, and as most folks in your neck of the woods know, and actually around the nation know, that there's some serious fires going on right now, and luckily not many deaths and not too much trouble, but we are forced to move it, and because it was planned for the 28th and 29th of the month of July, and so we were looking around for a body of water, and also for a community that would be willing to take us on quickly with the short notice, and Stirling, Colorado fit the bill perfectly. So we're so thrilled to be coming.
Absolutely. Now tell me a little bit about this triathlon series. I mean, as a sports guy, I understand triathlon and stuff like that, but for a lot of people, you just hear the word and triathlon. What exactly is this HITS Triathlon Series?
Well, the HITS Triathlon Series started from an idea that myself and the owner of HITS started with about 2.5, 3 years ago, and we decided that there was a need for a more family and community-friendly triathlon series, and so we actually created 5 distances to host all on one weekend. It goes from the open all the way to a full, and the full consists of a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a full marathon run, which is 26.2 miles. Of course, that's a pretty intense day.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here tired because I'm thinking about that right now. It's a pretty intense day. Now you said you've got several different other series, correct? Much shorter, where you don't have to run a full marathon or swim 2 miles, right?
Of course, right. There's what's called a sprint, an Olympic, and then half of the full. And the sprint consists of a 750-meter swim, and then it's approximately a half a mile, a 12.4-mile bike ride, and then a 5K run. So that's 3.1 miles. So that's very doable, but guess what? We created an even shorter event for absolute beginners and for children and for family members to do together. It's called the Open, and it consists of a 100-meter swim, a 3-mile bike, and a 1-mile run.
Wow! So this is this is something for several different type of participants to come in, because, like you said, you get your start. Nobody who started running triathlons did a full triathlon their first time.
That's correct. That is correct.
Well, they may have tried, but they probably did not complete it. Now, the event's coming to Stirling on July 28th and 29th. You're going to be doing all of these different events in Stirling?
That is correct. We will be at the North Stirling Reservoir, and there are actually 3 events on day 1, which is Saturday the 28th of July, and that'll be the Sprint and Olympic in the early morning, and then the Open starting at 12:30 p.m., and then the half and the full will commence at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, the 29th.
Okay, so this is obviously part of a weekend, which is a big thing for the events to come in and be able to bring people in. About how many athletes are you thinking are going to come in for this event?
Well, actually, even considering the switch from Fort Collins to Stirling, there will still be at least 500 to 600, maybe even 700 athletes at the event. So, and then they bring their families and their children, and so you get up to about 1,000 people all together, and it's just a lot of fun. And these are pretty fit athletes, as you can imagine, right?
Absolutely. Now you have these athletes. Is this athletes that are participating in the entire series of HITS events, or are we going to see some people that can be one-time participants in this one here in Stirling? I guess the question is, who is eligible to be a part of these?
Well, in fact, everyone's welcome, and you can register as late as the morning of the race. Now, the online registration closes about Wednesday prior to the race. I believe that's on the 25th or something like that. But anyone is welcome, and even up to race morning, they could sign up. We recommend they do that earlier, of course. But the athletes most of them are going to be brand new to our series and race with us for the first time in Stirling. However, we do have several athletes who have been following us around the country. Deb Battaglia, James Lawrence, Susan Haig. These are just some that come to mind. And they've been following us around the country, and that started back in December of 2011 in Palm Springs, California. And in fact, Deb Battaglia is now 7-0 with the HIT series. She's won every single full race that we've had so far. She's 7-0.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. As we're talking with Marc Wilson, he's the HITS Triathlon Series race director. So you're going to see, obviously, some very capable athletes to come in, especially in that full series. That are going to participate in this. When you talk an event like this, one thing that sneaks into my head as a business person is economic impact on the local community. And I was, to tell a little story here, I'm an Eagle Scout, and when I was in middle school, I believe, we helped put on a triathlon. We were the ones that helped with the bikes and the swimming gear and all that stuff in the Fort Morgan area, and I remember seeing all the different people that came to town. Some of them camped, some of them had trailers, some of them stayed in the hotels. Are we expecting the same type of economic hit here in Stirling for this one?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's actually been figured that our event brings $500,000 to each community that we come into. You know, the athletes purchase fuel for their vehicles, of course. They stay in hotels, they camp, like you mentioned. They eat at the restaurants. You know, they're there for several days. Most of them will be arriving on Friday and leaving late Sunday. The full athletes, because they participate on Sunday's event, they won't be leaving through until Monday. So, you know, the town will be full. It'll be exciting to have the athletes in, and, yeah, they will be spending their money, that's for sure.
Absolutely is. You look at the economic impact. Of course, you can project things as they come through with the amount of money that's going to come in. You have to put an event on and let it come into your community to see truly what kind of impact it's going to have. The other impact, of course, though, comes from the non-participants, North Stirling Reservoir where the event starts, and then the course that you're going to have. You've got people that live along there. I guess first things first, we need to walk through the course. We know you're using North Stirling Reservoir for the swimming, but what does the rest of the course look like?
Okay. Well, since we have 5 courses, you know, there's different distances, as I mentioned. However, all of them will utilize the same roads. They will come out of the park on County Road 330, veering left on 46. They'll take a right-hand turn on County Road 37, continue on. I know that becomes County Road 39 and also 7th Avenue, I believe, right, North 7th Ave. And then they take a right-hand turn on County Road 30, and just staying out of the city limits, and then taking a left-hand turn on County Road 33, and then a right-hand turn on State Route 14, and a turn around about a half a mile or so beyond Pawnee Pass, and then come back. Now, that's the longer courses. That's 28 miles from the park all the way out to that point. The half does that. They go out 28 miles, come back, and that's 56 miles. And then the full course does that again. So they do 2 loops of that. And the shorter distances, the Olympic goes out 12.4 miles, so they'll be just a little ways on County Route 30 and turning around and come back. And the sprint does only 6.2 miles out, so they will turn around on County Road 37 and come back. And, of course, the Open, being the shortest event, only 3 miles long for the bike ride. They just go out of the park and then turn around 1.5 miles and come back. So those are the roads, the county roads that we utilize, and we worked that and set that up with the county sheriff, Sheriff Powell, and he approved the routes and likes it very much because there's low impact to the traffic. The cyclists will stay on their right and then turn around at the turn points and then stay on their right on the way back, all following traffic rules. However, they will have the right of way when coming to a stop sign, and that's where we will actually put officers at those posts and points with additional caution signs for motorists that will be traveling on those days.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's probably the biggest impact for everybody within the community is going to be just the traffic delays and stuff like that, correct?
That's correct, and there won't be that long of a delay. We've estimated it'll be between anywhere 30 seconds to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So athletes will be spread out because they're not actually allowed to draft off of one another. That's a USA Triathlon rule. So it's not a cycling race per se where they will be in a large pack traveling together and clogging up the roads. these athletes will be all spread out based on their abilities from swimming, and they'll get spread out, and then they'll get spread out again as they start riding their bikes at different speeds. So it'll literally look like a long stretch of cyclists dotted along the roads. There won't be hardly any delays at any of the turns. Motorists should be, take caution as they approach, but mostly it'll be free sailing for everyone.
Absolutely is. We visit with Marc Wilson. He's the HITS Triathlon Series race director that's coming to Stirling July 28th and 29th. Everybody, of course, will see the driving delays and that type of thing, although, like you say, they won't be that long. But for the people that have houses along that side of things, I know that is something that could be a cause for a concern as well. How is that going to affect the people that live along the route that you're going to be utilizing?
Well, we're so grateful. Pardon me, Ben. We're so grateful for the community allowing us to come in here, and we want to be, as cautious back for them and making sure that we don't get in their way. The athletes will be traveling very early in the morning, so hopefully folks will still be asleep when our athletes go driving by their driveway. But there's the morning coffee and getting the paper and all that, and so I would just suggest to the locals that beware. There's a race course happening on some of those roads where they live, and so when they come out and pull out of their driveway, just to look both ways for the cyclists coming early in the morning. And what time would that be? It's anywhere from 7:10 in the morning on Saturday until about 10:30 on Saturday morning. Then on Sunday, it's going to be anywhere from 7:30 in the morning until about 5:30 p.m. So it's a long day. However, there are fewer athletes doing the longer courses for obvious reasons. A little bit harder, longer day. So they will be out there on the course. So they just need to have a little caution when they pull out of their driveway. Other than that, shouldn't be a big deal.
Absolutely. Well, and Marc, I guess the other thing that could maybe help ease some concerns on this as well is this isn't your guys' first rodeo.
Oh, no. We've done this several times across the country. As I mentioned, we were in Palm Springs, California, Naples, Florida, and in February, Corpus Christi, Texas. In March, we were at Ocala, Florida. In April, we were in Napa Valley, California, and then Marble Falls, Texas as well. We just completed our race in Hunter Mountain, New York, and we're heading to Stirling next.
Marc, when you take a look at this, obviously you guys have a lot of support that travels with you for this HITS Triathlon series, but the story I told about me as a middle school Boy Scout being able to help with some of the aspects of a triathlon that was put on in Fort Morgan in the 90s, are you looking for local support for this event as well?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we had the local Lions Club already step up and volunteer and help in any way we need, so we're so grateful for that. There's always a need for volunteers, no doubt. It makes it safer. The athletes enjoy that. They get support that way. And of course, it just helps our team, our staff that's on site. And so we're absolutely open for anyone to reach out to us and help out. You can go to our website, which is www.hitstriathlonseries.com, and click on the Stirling listing, and then you can volunteer through that. Or you can just call our office at 845-246-8833 and just ask for myself, and we'll get you all lined up.
Absolutely. Now, what exactly type of services are you looking for something like this?
Great question. So some of them include people to be lifeguards, to monitor the swimmers in a kayak or in a raft. They don't have to be certified, although any certified lifeguards are always welcome, and we actually pay certified lifeguards. So please have anybody who's interested in that contact me, and we will hook them up. And the volunteers, we always like extra set of eyes out there on the course. Swimming is the scariest part for most triathletes, but also a really exhilarating part too, and it's just a great thing to watch as a spectator. For the bike course, we always love to have people out at aid stations and also in the transition area, so that's needed there. And then for the run, of course, aid stations as well. And we will need them out on the course for the run because it's going to go through the trails of North Stirling State Park. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be quite warm, as you know.
Yeah.
So we will have tents available for the volunteers. They can be under that and shaded and comfortable, in addition to cheering on the athletes and handing them water and other amenities like gels and bananas and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into this. About how many people do you quote-unquote employ to put on a triathlon like this? When you take into account the people that you bring to help put the event on and the local volunteers?
Well, we bring about 20 to 30 staff members to each location for just our core, and then we usually expect about 20 to 30 volunteers at every venue to help us out, and it's just invaluable. We just love it, and everyone gets a T-shirt. They're able to eat with us throughout the day. We've got some great snacks for everybody, so they don't get hungry, and they stay fueled and can have high energy for the athletes. Just can't thank the volunteers enough, and it's just a rewarding experience, because when you are around triathletes and around the sport of triathlon itself, it really inspires. It inspires volunteers, it inspires the staff, and it pumps up the athletes, and you just can't get that anywhere else. It's just a great feeling.
It definitely is. Let's talk triathlon a little bit.
Sure.
Let's say somebody's interested in getting started, and we've talked a little bit about the different lengths that you have, but how does somebody get involved with this outside of really liking swimming, biking, and running a lot?
Usually there's a local club that can help you get started. Sometimes there's not one available. So what you do is you go online, of course, do a little searching out and looking around, and there are tons of triathlons these days. I mean, triathlon is really exploding. The numbers for USA Triathlon is now, they've gone upwards of 150,000 members nationally, and that's grown tremendously. It used to be only about 10 years ago, there was about only 20,000 triathletes in the country, so it's really growing fast. And again, we hope that with our open event that would help inspire someone. For instance, a 100-meter swim, 3-mile bike, and a 1-mile run. I mean, just about any of your listeners right now would say, "Oh, I can do that." And really, that's the idea. That's exactly the idea. Any weekend warrior can do our open event, and guess what? It's free.
Wow.
The Open is actually free. All they have to do is pay for their USA Triathlon one-day insurance fee, which is $12 for an adult, and I think $5 for a youth. And you get off the couch, you come out, you played football before, you've played basketball, baseball, and you say, I think I'm going to give this thing a shot. I've heard about this triathlon thing, and we really hook a lot of people and get them in the sport, and it's a great way to lose weight, stay fit, and you don't have to spend 3 hours a day training to actually become a triathlete and be a triathlete.
Well, it's a great fitness end of things, because you really do have three very different styles of exercise, if you will. Swimming works one set of muscles, biking works another, and running works another.
Absolutely. In fact, that's what helps people stay injury-free. When you have the option to do a different sport on any given day, or all three at one day, or whatever your choice happens to be, or availability, you can do that. If it's raining, you can go out and run. If it's if it's too hot, you can go swimming. You just mix it up, and it's just great cross training. I mean, that's why CrossFit has become so popular right now in the States. It's because the cross training effect feels so good, and it's so good for your body. You avoid that repetition of certain muscles over and over and over again by breaking it up and doing exactly what you said, using different muscle groups.
We're talking with Marc Wilson. He's the HITS Triathlon Series race director. It's coming to Stirling on July 28th and 29th, pardon me. And Marc, you guys, we're talking about the exercise end of things. Is that kind of where the "a distance for everyone" mantra comes in? Because when I think triathlon, even back in the 90s when I was helping out with the triathlon in Fort Morgan, I would see the one style of athlete, the skinny guy with the muscles in the right places that could swim well, could bike well, and could run well. But it sounds to me like the HITS Triathlon Series is trying to make this a little bit more mainstream.
Oh, absolutely. I feel the same way, that at certain events around the country, you only see one type of person, and it becomes an elitist type of thing. There's nothing wrong with being an elite athlete, and we should all aspire to be better, for sure. But what we have found is that with the 5 distances, you get the beginners right alongside the professionals or the elite athletes. And everyone needs that. I believe in that personally. I am actually a triathlon coach too, and I believe in everyone witnessing the other levels when you're racing, it is very beneficial to see someone who's at the beginning when you have already been in the sport for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It reminds you the humble beginnings. It reminds you of where you come from. And then for a beginner to see the elite athletes, to see the ones who are more honed and toned and have been in it for a while, to see, oh, that's what it is, that's how you look, that's the way it works. If you bike like that, you're going to get better and stronger and faster. And so we feel like offering all the distances will bring all of those groups together. For instance, as a coach, I would bring all of my different levels of athletes to the race, and all of them could participate and support each other at one location.
Right.
And that builds great it's team building. And it's the same thing for clubs, or same thing for your staff, right? If you brought all of your radio staff there, everyone could do a different distance, let's say, right? Someone would do the open.
If we brought all the radio staff there, you would need EMTs on staff.
Well, we're going to have a few on staff, so.
we would probably take all of them because, it's something that we talk about it, but we don't necessarily do the workout ins. But that shouldn't discourage people from getting in shape. You talk about being a coach, Mark. What is, whether you're that weekend warrior or that person that hops on the treadmill or whatever the case is, what's the best way, especially right now in this 100-degree heat, to stay cool when you're trying to work out?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. One is that early in the morning or late at night as the sun's coming up or going down, you got lower temperatures, and, it's probably 75 to 80 there at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Now, maybe that sounds insane because it's so early, but truly, it's a great time of day to work out because there's hardly anybody on the roads. You can bike for 1 hour. And I'm not talking about hours and hours here. I'm just talking about 30 to 60 minutes every day of just moving your body. Just swimming for 15 minutes, it's a great way to start the day. I mean, swimming, especially if you can get in the open water. I'm not aware of how many pools you have there locally, indoors or out, but the open water is absolutely beautiful there. And swimming in the morning, there's some great wildlife there. I saw some swans when I was there. There's some carp jumping and spawning right now. I mean, it's quite exciting. Mm-hmm. So, just swimming in the morning is a great opener for a day. And if it can't be that, then running for 30 minutes or just biking to your favorite coffee shop. I mean, make it part of your social life if you can, because that will get you started, and man, you're going to feel great. In only 2 weeks of doing that on a daily basis, from 15 minutes to 30 minutes to 60 minutes, it's enough. You don't have to do the full. You don't have to do the full triathlon to enjoy incredible fitness as a triathlete for the rest of your life. It can lead to doing the full, right? Mm-hmm. It can lead to that, but you don't have to do the full. Just do the open. I mean, I'm pleading to all of your listeners out there, if this is your chance right now, we're coming to Stirling, Colorado. If you'd like to find out what triathlon is, do the open. It's free. You borrow a friend's bike, a mountain bike, pull out your shoes, your running shoes, get a pair of goggles from the local store, and try it out.
It's something that is so easy to do when it comes. You just have to devote yourself a little bit on the workout end of things. Marc Wilson, the director of the HITS Triathlon Series that is coming to Stirling, our guest this morning on Crosstalk. Now, Marc, this event initially scheduled for Fort Collins, with the fires having to move it to Stirling. You guys have done races in California and Florida and Texas. Why'd you want to do one in Colorado?
Well, Colorado itself is an incredible triathlon state. It's known to be, actually Boulder is known to be the quote-unquote mecca of triathlon. Although the sport really started in San Diego, California, Boulder and Colorado itself has become a real training ground, a training base for a lot of professional triathletes, and actually hosts Colorado Springs is the location and the site for USA Triathlon. Mm. They chose Colorado as a place to live and train because I think part of it is the altitude. If you train high and then race low, it's a form of blood doping, right? It's just having better oxygen. When you train high, you don't have as much oxygen. So when you come low in altitude, then now you feel like a machine, a monster, because you can really go hard. That's part of it. And the state of Colorado had a full triathlon there years ago, and I'm not that familiar with it, but I'm aware that it was there, and we want to bring it back. This will be the first time back, and it's going to happen in Stirling. How exciting is this, right?
It's such an exciting thing for our listeners that may be interested in volunteering to help you guys out, or possibly even in participating. Let's get that contact info out there again.
Absolutely. It's HitsTriathlonSeries.com. That's all one word, HitsTriathlonSeries.com. Click on the Stirling tag, and that'll take you right to the information to volunteer or to enter. And also our phone number here is 845-246-8833, and you can ask for me, Marc Wilson. And there's one more thing I'd like to mention. We're in the need of bike mechanics.
Right.
Our local support in Fort Collins was the Pro Velo shop, and it's quite far for them to get to the event, and they may be coming to support us, which is great. But if there's anybody in your neck of the woods who have bicycle skills and bike building and repair skills, please have them contact me, because we need bike tech support out on the course there for the half and the full. Actually, all of the bike distances, but specifically for the Sunday event where they go a lot longer.
Absolutely, Marc. This is an exciting thing to see come into the area, and we look forward to it coming into Stirling July 28th and 29th. I'd like to thank you for your time on Crosstalk today.
Well, thank you, Ben. And, hey, if you have any questions on how to get into that open event and how to train for it, let me know. You got 1 month to go.
I'll have to work that out. HitsTriathlonSeries.com. Thank you, Marc, for being on Crosstalk.
All right, Ben.